More than 80% of the luxury bags in the world are made in China.
The bag may say made in Italy, but it's quite possible that only the clasp was attached in Italy. The rest of the bag was made in China.
This Birkin bag at Hermès boutique will cost you 38,000 USD. One piece of Togo leather, the same leather as this one, will cost 450 USD. And one piece of the leather is only enough to make one Birkin.
Luxury bags carefully handcrafted in China. Turns out your quote-unquote made in Italy luxury handbag might have more ties to Chinese factories than to Tuscany.
Texture and the craftsmanship are basically the same because they all come the same production line. See, this is why people come to China and looking for the OEM factory because they just can get the cheapest and best quality products from there and sell you, I don't know how much.
Do you know how much one of these bags costs at boutique? Let me tell you, 30,000 USD. And do you know how much it costs from us? If you buy from us, only less than 1/10 of its price. And we use exactly the same leather, same hardware, same thread, anything exactly the same.
Things just took a sharp turn for Louis Vuitton, and not in a good way. Furious customers are now flooding their stores after a bombshell revelation from Chinese manufacturers. The luxury giant, long celebrated for its exclusive Made in Europe branding, is now under fire as trade secrets leak, exposing what might be one of the biggest image-shattering moments in fashion. Buyers feel deceived, and the backlash? It's exploding online and in person. This isn't your typical PR hiccup. This is way beyond a Balenciaga-level blunder. We're talking about a full-blown brand meltdown. Think about it. How do you even start explaining to loyal customers that the brand they've worshipped for luxury and class might actually be at the center of one of fashion's biggest deceptions? This isn't just controversial. It feels like a betrayal. And trust? That's hard to win back once it's cracked. It all kicked off with a jaw-dropping video straight from a factory in China. And when I say viral, I mean TikTok dance trend level viral.
Let's start with this lovely gentleman, who, as you can imagine, is holding a Hermès bag. What he reveals is that they manufacture 85% of this and then send it to Italy or various other places. They put the logo and stamps and everything else on there and say it's from Italy. And he reveals everything and then goes and says, this bag that is now sold in the USA for $30,000 is made for $2,000.
You're like me and you've been seeing nothing but Chinese sellers on your For You page for the last 2 days. It's starting to make you wonder, are DHgate bags the actual dupe, or have these luxury brands been duping us this entire time?
In the clip, a factory worker doesn't just hint at something shady. They flat out spill the tea on how Louis Vuitton products are really being made. And trust me, the details? They're enough to make even the most diehard LV fans do a double take. Everyone, and yes, even your grandma, has seen these TikToks by now. For the past couple of weeks, it's been the only thing anyone in the fashion or luxury scene is talking about. But if you're just now pulling up to the drama, don't worry, I've got you. Here's the quick catch-up. It all started when the US slapped on new tariffs, aiming to put economic pressure on global manufacturing giants, especially China. The idea? Make it tougher for companies to rely on Chinese production without facing consequences. But China wasn't about to take that lying down. They clapped back, and in doing so, pulled the curtain on just how deep the US, and really the entire global market, relies on Chinese manufacturing. And now, that exposure is bleeding straight into the world of high-end luxury. Louis Vuitton, the crown jewel of fashion prestige, just got hit hard. Buyers are waking up to a rude shock. For years, they were led to believe their bags were handcrafted in Europe with old-world finesse. But the reality? More than half of those iconic bags have reportedly been made in China all along. It's not just misleading, it's shaking the very foundation of what people thought they were paying for.
Does anybody have the Louis Vuitton from China and a Louis Vuitton that they got at the designer store? Because I need to see a side-by-side. I have to know if there's any discrepancies or any differences, or is it the exact same thing? Because I'm starting to feel ripped the fuck off right now. I got a closet full of this shit that I paid thousands for. And you're telling me it's all been made in China and I could have just gone straight to China and gotten this shit? It just can't be the same.
Let's break this down, because the outrage isn't just about the Made in China label. Though, let's be real, that alone is enough to make some luxury shoppers lose it. What really has people fuming is the cold, hard math behind it all. According to a factory worker, a Louis Vuitton bag can cost as little as reads $15 to make. $15. And yet, by the time it hits the store shelves, you're being asked to drop thousands. The kicker? Once the bags arrive in Europe, the only thing that's added is the label. That's it. The entire entire illusion of European luxury craftsmanship hinges on a tag. No wonder people are calling it the biggest markup scam in fashion history. According to a worker, these bags, yes, the same ones going for 2, 3, even 5 grand, can be made for just $15. Let that sink in. And what are we really paying for? A label, literally. Because once those bags make it to Europe, the only thing added is that shiny little tag. Can you honestly blame loyal customers for wanting to storm into an LV store and scream into the display shelves? Imagine being sold on the fantasy of handcrafted, exclusive, high-end fashion, only to find out it's all fugazi. Seriously, how do you keep carrying your luxury bag with pride after this? But of course, Louis Vuitton wasn't about to sit silent. They finally responded with a classic PR move, dropping a statement that basically said, "Don't worry, this is all false. Our products are still crafted to the highest standards, just like always. The problem? After what's come out, not everyone's buying it anymore." Here's the thing. People aren't rejecting Louis Vuitton because they think the brand can't make quality products. That's not the issue. The real reason so many customers are turning their backs? They're starting to feel like they've been straight up duped, you see, for years. Like, are we really paying top-tier prices for authentic luxury, or just helping pad some corporate executives' bonus? Meanwhile, China's not exactly backing down. In fact, they're turning up the heat, now even showing customers how to spot whether their so-called luxury items were actually made in China. And the kicker? Everything they're pointing out checks out. People are comparing tags, factory codes, stitching methods, and it's all lining up a little too well. But here's where it gets really interesting, because this might just be the tip of the iceberg. People are already saying this is only the beginning. Now that China's made it clear they're not backing down, don't be surprised if more factory workers start stepping into the spotlight, dropping even more shady receipts about what's really happening behind those closed doors. The floodgates are opening, and if Louis Vuitton thought one viral video was damaging, imagine what's coming next. Imagine this. Everything we thought we knew about Louis Vuitton and the entire luxury fashion world could be turned upside down. If more workers start coming forward, things could spiral fast. But here's the twist. Not everyone is outraged. Some people, they couldn't care less where these bags are made. Honestly, even if they were stitched together on Mars by Martians, as long as it's got that logo, they're buying. Honestly, I kinda get it. If you're someone who rocks Louis Vuitton for that bold, statement-making vibe, are you really gonna ditch it just because it's made in China? Probably not. For these buyers, it's all about the brand name, the flex, the status, the price tag. To them, it's just the cost of that little LV logo shining back at them. But oh, the plot thickens. And I mean, thickens like hot oil in a frying pan. Just when you thought it couldn't get any messier, Louis Vuitton said, "Watch this," and somehow made it 10 times worse. It's almost like playing with customers' trust is their full-time job. And here's the kicker. They really thought no one would catch on. All right, let me break it down for you. Meanwhile, Hermès took a totally different route. They straight up came clean, announcing their price hike like, "Hey everyone, heads up. We're raising prices by 10% on May 1st, but only in the US. You've got a few weeks to snag what you want before it kicks in." Super respectful move from Hermès. Seriously, thanks for not blindsiding people. But Louis Vuitton? Oh no. They're out here moving sneaky dicky, like a thief in the night. No warning, no press release, not even a whisper. Instead, Louis Vuitton quietly slipped in a sneaky 3% to 6% price hike across the board. Bags, perfumes, wallets, you name it. I'm not kidding. People were literally finding out at the checkout. Imagine rolling up to buy your favorite LV perfume, only to be hit with a price that's suddenly $40 higher overnight, just like that. No warning, no courtesy text, nothing. And let's not forget, Louis Vuitton's been playing this shady price game for a while. Remember back during the COVID pandemic, when everyone was stuck inside, saving their coins because no one was traveling, dining out, or showing off in public? Yeah, Louis Vuitton saw all that unspent money piling up and said, "Bet, let's cash in." They were hiking up prices left, right, and center back then too, blaming it on supply chain issues and soaring raw material costs and all that. But let's be real. Babe, it's 2025. The pandemic's been over for years, so what's the excuse now? At this point, it's giving straight up greed. It's giving, "We thought you wouldn't notice." It's giving, well, you did notice. They want all your coins without even bothering to say please. And here's the wild part. It's even nastier than you think. Prices? Oh, they might still be climbing, but hear me out. I've got a theory, and let me put you on game. Louis Vuitton knows exactly what they're doing. They know their name carries serious weight. You're not just buying a bag, you're buying clout. So even if they sneak those price hikes in, Louis Vuitton knows the fans, the hype beasts, are still gonna line up, wrapping around the block to cop it, no questions asked. That's the game. They're banking on people being too embarrassed to complain, too deep in to back out at the register. But here's the kicker. Pretty soon, they're gearing up for another price jump, this time officially announced. Basically, they're betting you won't notice or won't care that your bag's not fully made in Europe. And unlike Hermès, they're not announcing it up front. Meanwhile, they're quietly floating even more profits. It's all a mind game, messing with luxury status, clout, and perception. And honestly, it's just plain disrespectful. Transparency? Louis Vuitton doesn't even know the word. The arrogance? It's on full display. And trust? Other brands are watching every second of this mess, ready to pounce. They're flipping the script, and suddenly Miss Chanel is oddly silent. And when luxury brands go quiet, that's when their die-hard fans start sweating. Right now, LV is giving us a masterclass in how not to treat loyal customers. Honestly, this might be the biggest PR disaster they've walked into in years. But here's where it gets wild. The Chinese leaks? Louis Vuitton isn't sweeping that under the rug. Nope, word is they're actually suing their own manufacturers for allegedly spilling trade secrets. Yeah, they're turning on the very people making their bags. And it's not just 55 caught in the chaos. Hermès is deep in the trenches too, scrambling to do damage control. Rumor has it, Hermès and LVMH top execs just launched a major lawsuit, accusing insiders of blowing the lid off their luxury operations. Some factories are out here claiming to be official Louis Vuitton and Hermès manufacturers, when they're not, and it gets worse. They're also being accused of flooding the market with high-quality fakes. We're talking near-perfect Birkin and Louis Vuitton dupes. The leaks didn't just damage reputations, they basically handed bootleggers a cheat code. And now, Louis Vuitton is firing back hard. According to Warner Street, they're demanding massive damages. Why? Because some of their trusted long-term partners allegedly broke NDAs and leaked private designs to third-party dealers. This isn't some shady backdoor operation. These are manufacturers they've worked with for years. This is where it gets really messy. Insiders are saying some of these manufacturers were playing both sides, making legit Louis Vuitton bags during business hours, then cranking out near-identical knockoffs once the lights dimmed. It sounds wild, but honestly, it's not that shocking in the world of luxury goods. We've seen knockoffs of everything, but now Louis Vuitton and Hermès are firing off lawsuits like they're in a game of dodgeball. Lawsuits flying in every direction. And even with all that legal firepower, people are still asking one simple thing. Just prove it. Show us the workers. Show us the factories. Be transparent, just like Chinese manufacturers have started doing. Hermès, Louis Vuitton, and the rest of the luxury elite dead silent. One commenter even pointed out the irony. Car brands like Ferrari, Lamborghini, even Bugatti let you watch engines being assembled in their factories. But when it comes to these luxury bags, suddenly it's top secret, just a piece of leather, and they won't let anyone peek behind the curtain. Another person asked the real question. Do these so-called high-end factories in Italy and France even exist at the scale they claim? Sure, they're throwing lawsuits around like confetti, but without proof? What does it even mean? So far, none of these brands have produced clear evidence that China's the one lying. And that silence, it's starting to speak volumes. Let's be real. A lot of this could have been cleared up with one simple move: transparency. If these luxury brands had nothing to hide, they could have shared this info without anyone even asking. Meanwhile, Chinese companies are out here dropping full manufacturer lists, vendor contacts, even tutorials on how to buy directly. They're not hiding, they're teaching. At this point, it's an open secret. China powers global manufacturing. So why are luxury brands still pretending otherwise? Instead of leaning into honesty, they're going all in on lawsuits that most people believe won't go anywhere. And here's the kicker. No one expected the trade war and those brutal tariffs to spiral like this. But now, it's escalating fast. And with the US and China both digging in their heels, the drama is far from over. And now, with all this chaos swirling, rumors are flying that Louis Vuitton CEO Bernard Arnault might be stepping down way earlier than anyone expected. Remember, Bernard and LV made it clear. He was supposed to be running things until he hit 85. That gave him another decade at the top. But now, at just 76, people are whispering that he might be calling it quits. And let's be honest, it's not just about age. Between the crushing tariffs, viral exposés from Chinese TikTokers, and receipts proving that made-in-France bags are allegedly being churned out in Chinese factories, the pressure is at an all-time high. With those wild 1000% markups, things are starting to get real sticky. First, it was Hermès catching heat. Now Louis Vuitton is in the hot seat. The luxury industry shaking. And Bernard Arnault, he might be trying to sneak out the back door before the whole thing comes crashing down. But here's the kicker. This rumored early retirement isn't just about saving face. The man is losing money fast. According to reports, over $9 billion vanished from Bernard's fortune in a single morning after LVMH shares tanked more than 7%, all thanks to a surprise slump in first quarter sales. It's gonna take nothing short of a miracle for these luxury giants to bounce back to their former glory. The damage, it's deep, and the trust, cracked. But hey, this story's just getting started. Drop your thoughts in the comments, because I need to know what you make of all this drama. Thanks for watching, and I'll catch you in the next one.